I love knowing how much YouTubers get paid, and now that I've been monetized for 6 months, I can share with you how much a small YouTuber with only 2.2 thousand subscribers got paid. Let's do it. Cold pizza, Tuesday. So in this video, we're going to be covering 3 different parts of my YouTube journey so far. The first is why I started a YouTube channel. The second is how I got monetized. And the third is how much YouTube actually paid me. So why did I start a YouTube channel? Because I know it is so random, but it was actually a combination of 3 things kind of coming together at the right time. The first was lockdown. I quickly developed a very unhealthy habit of watching YouTube, particularly content creators in the design space, because I felt like I was just sitting down to have lunch with a colleague, which is obviously very problematic because it is very much one-sided. No one was having a conversation with me. I was just watching other people's lives go on. But I really enjoyed that during lockdown, and I started to really bank up a bunch of YouTubers that I loved watching. The second thing that happened was a talk from one of our creative directors at my work. So he had just experienced a prolonged period of burnout, and he gave this really powerful, really inspiring talk about his experience. And he also shared the lessons that he learned from going through that experience. And one of them really resonated with me. Well, actually all of them did, but one in particular led to the YouTube channel. And that advice was to have a creative outlet outside of work. So something that is not tied to briefs from clients or client feedback or your livelihood. It's purely just for you, and it just feels good for you to create. And so his was DJing, which, like, honestly, so many people at that company's were. But I was like, no, DJ's not going to be my thing. But instead, I remembered how when I was a kid, I loved editing videos. I loved filming stupid little things and then cutting them together, overlaying a cheesy soundtrack and adding some twirly text. And so I remembered that feeling of being a child and really enjoying that process of making. And so I thought, well, what's the adult version of that? And then the third and final piece of the puzzle, which is all very in theme with the lockdown, the burnout phases, is I got COVID and I was bedbound. So when I wasn't sleeping, I did one of 2 things. I played Catan and absolutely killed at it. And I also watched a ton of YouTube. And when you watch something over and over and over again, you start to create a belief in yourself that you could do that too. And that is exactly what I thought as I sat in bed watching YouTube. I thought, I could do that. I then started watching even more YouTube in terms of video gear, equipment, editing software, how to start a YouTube channel, monetization, so videos like this. And I just went on such a deep dive into how to do all of this stuff that I came out the other end having invested lots of money in equipment to make it happen, and then a few months later I finally psyched myself up to do it, and here we are with the YouTube channel. Okay, so now we know why I started YouTube. Let's now move on to part 2 and how I got monetized. So I posted my first video on March 13th, 2022 to a hugely non-existent audience. If you want to go back and check out where I started from, I highly recommend watching that video. That is kind of where it all began. It was then 5 months later to the day, on August 13th, that I actually hit my 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Interestingly, I actually hit my 4,000 watch hours a few months before the 1,000 subscribers. So a few videos like my Mallorca travel vlog kind of took off and got a lot of watch time, but it didn't necessarily convert people to subscribers of my channel. It's also important to note that since my monetization, the requirements to join the YouTube Partner Program have also changed. So previously it was only 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in the last 12 months. But now you also have a separate option where it's 1,000 subscribers and 10 million shorts views in the last 90 days. So if you're like a shorts person, then you have more of an opportunity to get monetized quickly. So I distinctly remember the day, the moment, the feeling when I hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and I was able to finally monetize my content. It was genuinely very exciting. I was super happy. But as quickly as the numbers started to grow and I hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, they stopped just as quickly. And that's when I learned that YouTube is this very fickle thing and that I don't want to rely on it to be like the make or break of my happiness. I want this channel to stay as a creative community. But of course, it feels really nice when people subscribe and watch my content, because it is much nicer to know that what I'm creating people hopefully enjoy. So thank you so much to whoever is subscribed, whoever likes these videos, and for all of the kind comments and words of support. It genuinely makes my day when I read them, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. As much as I want this channel to be all about creativity and community, I did make a video about my analytics because I know that I liked watching those when I started my channel. So now we're going to get into the juicy part of the video and discuss my monetization. Okay, so part 3, how much YouTube paid me. We're finally into the numbers. So after becoming eligible for the YouTube Partner Program on August 13th, I started earning money on my videos on August 16th. Since then, February 16th marks 6 months of monetization. In that period, I posted 14 more videos and I reached 2,253 subscribers. So now I'm going to look at my computer screen to go through the breakdown of the numbers. Let's go month by month and discuss what was happening in each of those periods. So August to September was my first month. In that month, I got almost 30,000 views, 2.8 thousand watch hours, and gained 274 subscribers. My channel was still peaking from the apartment hunting video at that period, so I feel like these numbers were quite like positive. The highest amount I made in one day was a whole £9.61, and the lowest I made was £1.57. In total, however, I made £131.92, which I'm pretty satisfied with. For someone with zero expectations and knowing that, you know, my content is like vlogs, it's not high CRM, but I was pretty stoked with that amount, and that was really nice when it hit my bank account. My second month was the September to October period. In that month, I got 14.8 thousand views, 1.2 thousand watch hours, and 119 subscribers. So during this period, I also published 3 videos, and honestly, none of them went particularly well. So the highest amount I made in one day was £5.37, and the lowest I made was 23 pence. So that was an exciting day to make 23 pence. In total for that month, I made £66.38. So quite literally for this month, it was half the views, half the watch hours, half the subscribers, and half the income. So yeah, hence why YouTube is so fickle and why I'm really glad it isn't my sole source of income. Unless of course like I was Mr. Beast. Then I'd be pretty happy. So let's go on to the third month, which is the October to November period. This was very similar to the month before. I got 11.5 thousand views, 1.1 thousand watch hours, and 98 lovely subscribers. In that period, I once again uploaded 3 videos, just like the month before. The highest amount I made in one day was £4.78, and the lowest was 93 pence. In total, very similar to last month's numbers, I made £66.07. So moving on to my fourth month, this was for the November to December period. I actually took a break from YouTube after posting only 1 video in this period. It was my flat tour, and that did perform quite well. So my numbers were surprisingly good, given I only posted one video in this period. So in this month, I got 12.3 thousand views, 1.2 thousand watch hours, and 73 subscribers. So the highest amount I made in one day was £5.56. The lowest was £1, and in total I made £55.82, which is definitely my lowest month since being monetized. But I guess that also makes sense given I only posted one video. So for this 5th month, I got almost 25,000 views, which is huge. I didn't post any videos. I got 2.6 thousand watch hours, and I gained a wonderful 213 subscribers. This was all pretty dependent on that flat tour video I had uploaded in November. I chose not to post anything for this period. I took about 2 months off of posting on YouTube because I feel like that high of getting monetized started to wear off. It was quite disappointing for me to go from really fast growth to all of a sudden just fizzling out. I really questioned what I was doing, why I was doing it, how I could possibly continue managing this on top of my full-time job. And I really needed to take a period off and rest. So Liam and I actually went to a nature resort in a national park, and we went like completely off-grid. We didn't use our phones, we didn't even bring laptops or iPads. During that period, I wasn't even sure if I would come back to YouTube. I really enjoyed having that time off, and so I gave myself the permission to only create a video on YouTube if I genuinely felt like creating it, to not have to create anything for a particular deadline that I was, self-imposing. Instead, it was focused more on just like creating for creating's sake. So I was coming back to the roots of why I started the channel in the first place. So in this period where I was just relying on my past videos to kind of create revenue for me, the highest amount I made in one day was £4.93, and the lowest was £1.07. In total, for that 5th month, I actually made £77.47, which is pretty good for not having done anything that month. So once I allowed myself to just do what I want, that I didn't force myself to come back to YouTube, it was then in January that I all of a sudden felt like recording a video about all the books I'd read in 2022. And so that is why I did end up creating that video, because I love talking about books. I love sharing what books I've read. And so it felt natural to do it. And that is why then in my 6th month in January, I did come back to YouTube and I published 3 videos. I very much entered 2023 with a slow growth mindset. So these numbers were quite interesting because it all of a sudden was one of my best months yet. I got a staggering almost 46,000 views, 4.7 thousand watch hours. So what you need to get monetized and what took me 5 months to get, I got in 1 month. I also gained 374 subscribers, which is incredible. The highest amount I made in one day was £9.18, and the lowest was £1.90. And in total, I made my biggest paycheck, which was £163.64. So this was by far my most successful month in terms of numbers. And honestly, I didn't think it would, be this good. But what is interesting is those numbers didn't actually come down to the 3 videos I did post that month. It was actually my flat hunting video that I'd posted the previous year was all of a sudden getting a lot of traction again, because it was January and people are looking to move abroad, likely looking to move to London, and all of a sudden that video that I'd posted months before was getting a lot of traction and gaining new subscribers and viewers through that. So that is quite interesting in terms of how YouTube works, hence why it's a very fickle little thing, and how you can kind of put a lot of effort into one video. It can absolutely maybe flop, and then all of a sudden a few months later it can pop off. Or equally, you can upload a video, it absolutely go viral for a few weeks, and then can just like fizzle out again. It's a very fickle game, YouTube, and yeah, I think that's kind of probably what makes it so fun. but equally what makes it so tiring. So let's now bring all of those numbers together and discuss my first 6 months of YouTube. In that period, I gained 136,000 views, 13.3 thousand watch hours, 1.1 thousand subscribers, and a total revenue of £550 and 34 pence, which is super exciting. That's great news. When I get my little YouTube paycheck every month, I'm pretty happy. It's a nice extra amount of money to go into my bank account. Anywho, what you don't see here is the new skills I've learnt, the interests I've collected along the way, the sweet comments I receive, and of course the genuine friendships I've made in real life because of YouTube. So those are all huge benefits that you can't kind of like see in these numbers, but regardless, I think these numbers are great. So that's my YouTube analytics for the first 6 months being monetized as a small YouTuber with only 2.2 thousand subscribers. I'm glad I started a YouTube channel. I've really enjoyed the process. It's brought me a lot of fulfillment outside of work. It's made me kind of appreciate what goes into building a platform or a brand, which is obviously also relevant to the work that I do. It's also made me very empathetic towards YouTubers and the work that goes into creating videos and keeping a channel alive, because it does feel like this living thing that if you stop watering, it will die. If you enjoyed this and would like to support my channel, please remember to like and subscribe. And otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.